Hello, everyone, and we're back into the draft. Game 2 of IG versus Newbie in the last of Bubble Bracket B, fighting for the winner's seat bracket. The last, actually, winner's bracket seat available right now. I'm here. I'm Nex at Next Level Gaming, and this is Ranktious.
Howdy.
And we're a little behind on the draft, so we're going to try to catch up here. Tidehunter being the first pick, not the Doom, because Doom got banned out on the first set of bans. Straight into a Shadow Shaman Mirana. They picked up Mirana again. What do you have to say about that, Ranktious?
If I'm going to be perfectly honest, last time it was disappointing, so let's hope for better results this time. They keep picking it up, so obviously they believe in this to some extent, and
Right.
maybe they can prove why.
And Shadow Shaman, a little bit better, I say, setup than Earthshaker was, so might help a little bit.
I suppose.
But yeah, Rubik response, and so we're going to see some good steals coming out already, as from the Shadow Shaman, Mass Serpent Wards, and the Arrow on the Mirana, and just pretty much everything Shadow Shaman has is a good steal. Maybe that's testament to how good of a hero he is, and that's testament to the fact that he got first picked. But yeah, second round of bans, Morphling, Enchantress, DP, and Viper. So Viper ban coming out from Newbie, making sure that Invoker gets a good time, has a good time mid. And that was the follow-up pick, in addition to the Faceless Void and a Pugna from IG.
So, not to go too off topic here, but on Reddit the other day, I saw somebody predict that Pugna would be the big hero towards the later stages of the International, because just of everything people have been picking so far, Pugna's a huge counter to it. And here we are, we finally sing a Pugna, this Nether Ward is gonna mess people up specifically. They don't have any good ways to find the Nether Ward and kill it, and also just Nether Ward being as good as it is. Shadow Demon will actually be kind of good. You can scout it out, so that'll help somewhat. But anyways, this Pugna pick, I'm excited to see it. People have forgotten what it's like to play against it. I think it'll be pretty big.
It's so rough, yeah, especially when they max out the Nether Ward, which with an early push strategy, which Invictus Gaming might employ with the Shadow Shaman, and just an early game kind of Faceless Void, as far as the build goes, item, yeah, that'll definitely, it's so hard to fight into. But yeah, Shadow Demon, the Shadow Poison, able to scout out the ward, that's a huge way to at least help deal with Pugna. If you have no way of scouting out the ward, and even right-clicking it when it's in trees, there's nothing you can do about it. They're going to push your tower, and if you come in to try to defend your tower, you're going to get punished. The radius on that ward is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Does it say the radius here? 1600. That's like level 4 glimpse range, people. Absolutely, inescapable. It's really, really crazy.
Pugna doesn't get played enough to justify nerfing Pugna, but that radius seems way too big.
Yeah, especially when just sitting in it reduces your mana. It doesn't put you to 0 mana regeneration. It puts you to negative mana regeneration when it's enough to overshadow your base and current mana regeneration. So yeah, Anti-Mage actually being banned out from IG. They thought that Newbie was going to play Anti-Mage. Interesting. I mean, their carry is their next pick, but yeah. Interesting. Nature's Prophet being banned out from Newbie, which is really good, because if IG got a Nature's Prophet right now, that would be really bad in terms of split push. But yeah, so last pick coming out from IG is going to be don't they have, I guess they have one last farmer, the solo offlane, or will they offlane the Void? Probably not.
I mean, teams have really taken to offlaning a Void, just because, you get boots and a Mask of Madness, and you're essentially good to go. And it's really easy to start snowballing from there. Getting the faster Mask of Madness doesn't help, all that much, because your team still has to, contribute in a lot of these things. So if you're ahead and your team isn't quite there yet, then a Chrono doesn't do nearly as much as people who are ready for it. And a Gyro, last pick, offlane Faceless Void.
Yep, definitely. Wow, that's crazy, because Newbie going against that offlane Faceless Void is going to have a disruption. If they had any sort of silence after the disruption, they do have a Rubik lift. So they go disruption into lift, and if they just had some damage, they do have Sunstrike up. And depending on this last pick, Faceless Void might actually be having some trouble in that offlane, depending on how they lane this.
You say that, but I don't think disruption into lift is going to do all that much to Faceless Void. It's still really easy to jump out after all of that is over.
Yeah, you're right. Now with this Luna pick, they're going to have a good amount of nuke damage if they lift. So Soul Catcher after disruption into Rubik lift, which sets up Sunstrike into Moonbeam. Or lunar beam, then Yeah, I mean, it depends. If he backtracks any of it, he's gonna live.
Yes.
So yeah, but usually these teams surprising to me that they actually just pit the Faceless Void 1v1, which, I mean, such a hard carry and not putting him 1v1 and not punishing him for being in the solo offlane to me is a little baffling. But I guess there's priorities when it comes to what people are doing and who they're roaming against.
Since they have like a Tide Hunter who is most of the time solo anyways, I do imagine that they're going to tri-lane this Luna against the Void, which will probably work out better than a lot of these other times we've just seen people like let the Void 1v1 people, which is great for him. Free
Right.
XP and money.
So Invoker's definitely going to go Exort as if I had to put money on anything, because the weird thing is that newbie supports are both like setup supports. We've got the lift and the disruption. Usually it's one or the other and not both. But if there is a Sunstrike there, that is some global presence and some global damage, and the tri-lane will be pretty good. I wouldn't be completely surprised if it was an aggro tri that came out from newbie, because I have seen Luna used in that right. In fact, it was newbie that did aggro tri with Luna after a level 1 Rosh. And that was against... and a Titan, that's right. It was against Titan in game 3 that just sealed the deal. That was the stomp. So IG rolling into the aggro jungle here as 5. No smoke needed, although they do have one in their inventory. It's on the Faith. But yeah, so they're going to be looking to make it so that there's no stacked camps here. Actually, they're not blocking the camps. They're just looking for vision. And newbie is going to spot out that they're coming out of the jungle, so they're going to expect that some of that's going to be warded. But yeah, going over who's playing who. YYF playing the offlane, so indeed offlane Void. Faith on Shadow Shaman. Schwan on the, of course, Mirana. G playing the carry role on Gyrocopter, and Ferrari in the mid lane. If they do mid lane him, which I'm assuming they will, yes. He'll be midding against the Invoker, who being played by a Moose, so swapping over to newbie. They're covering the runes here. Sancheng playing the Shadow Demon with Hao on the Luna, and Banana on Rubik. Zhao 8 on the solo Tide Hunter.
Funny enough, it's a solo versus solo for the for the Void Tide Hunter. So
right, if it were me, I would prioritize ganking that Faceless Void. If I had the lineup, I don't know if newbie has that lineup. If they had a silence, 100%. In fact, I'm a little surprised now that I think about it that the flavor of the month, Skywrath Mage, didn't get picked or banned.
I mean, they do have a Pugna, so a Pugna's just gonna like get straight up destroyed or destroy a Skywrath Mage.
That is true. So maybe that was definitely one way of getting. But there's a couple of other silences, but that's the main one. Yeah, so in this top lane, like I said, aggro try with this Luna going against the Gyrocopter, and IG's lane setup isn't as powerful as newbies currently. They have the Mirana shooting an arrow, completely whiffing, hoping someone was sitting in that region in the middle here that's contested by both of these teams. But yeah, Shadow Shaman, Mirana, and they'd have to land an arrow without a setup from Shadow Shaman, in my opinion, to win this setup right here. Because they need Shadow Shaman to use his CCs for other things besides the arrow setup, in my opinion, to actually win. But then again, they do have the Gyrocopter Rocket Barrage. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of... They got a lot of defense... it's the thing is, if G Rocket Barrages, they do have a defensive disruption. So it's actually going to kind of be sort of even. It's going to come down to arrows, for sure. A newbie will win in this aggro try unless Shawan can land some arrows, which, if anything is to be said about his past performances, it wasn't as good. But we'll see. Arrow flying out, but it's going to miss.
So, funny enough, they sent Pugna bottom to deal with Tide.
Oh, you're right.
I've been saying this since I've seen people play Tide Hunter, but you just put a ranged hero against a Tide, and the Tide can't do anything. And sure enough, here we are with a Pugna against him. Well, what's he going to do? Like, all he can do is eat right clicks and try to avoid blasts. Like, it's okay, but it could be way better.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, Faceless Void going against the Invoker, but that isn't a much better matchup either. So you're going to shut down the Tide, but do a little bit worse on the...
It's better for the Pugna, and I think the Pugna's the like key hero here. Like, Void's going to get level 6. He's going to have like not a hard time, but a rough time either way, so you might as well make it easier for the Pugna.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. And Faceless Void would have had a hard time against Tide anyways. don't know if this is much better, but yeah. So he's pretty much going to have a hard time. And in newbie, going back to the tri-lane top, they're playing a little bit more aggressively here. They're controlling the jungle a little bit. In fact, they pulled, I don't know actually how they got the enemy creeps over to the hard camp, but they're benefiting from not only the enemy creeps, but the hard camp as well. Arrow off the mark. Taking the words from AC, having heard off the mark so many times from AC, I'm gonna steal it. I clearly am influenced. I'm like a mix between LD and AC right now. That's my current plus my own unique casting style. I'm a fledgling that's developing, but yeah.
It's a weird way to word yourself.
Yeah, it's kind of how things work. You have influences, but you have your own little flavor that you bring to the table. I'm just discovering what I currently have, but not getting too distracted and getting super weird and deep. Going back to top lane, still nothing's happening. Very surprised about that. Oh, finally, as I say that, thank you, newbie, for throwing out a disruption and not following up on it.
Look at those illusions right clicking.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, man. Good illusions, but yeah. So really passive. They're really scared. I mean, this is a big game here. This is a really big game for IG.
Yeah, I mean,
Arrow finally hits on How, and he's low HP. This is wow. That did way more damage than I thought. The right click's coming out, but that's it. There is a defensive lift coming out from Rubik, and the rocket barrage coming out from G, and the defensive disruption plus the Sunstrike coming out totally with the Soul Catcher doing tons of damage, but not enough. Wow, back and forth.
That's good.
Yeah, that was really close, and the Arrow trying to find How, but that was way too deep. Wow. But yeah, he's just going to tango up and not actually need to leave this lane. That was funny. They all got a level at the same time, so clearly they've been sharing the XP, which is what you do in an aggro try.
So if you look at the last hits right now, Tidehunter is actually beating Pugna, which is crazy surprising to me.
Yeah.
Like, I would have thought the Pugna would be doing way better, but maybe that's just a testament to how good of a a laner Tide is.
And it's interesting, Tidehunter did get another level in Gush, or a value point in Gush.
Yeah, he actually got that earlier than 5. Like, he had 1 point in the Anchor's match, which is crazy. He's just been last hitting with 1 point of it.
Yeah, so, I mean, when you're Zhao 8 and you've been on a dating show before, that gives you a little bit, but Ferrari does have level 6 now, and he's going to totally take some of Zhao 8's HP. Dating show can't help you against life draining. Oh, but I missed First Blood up at top, of course. I was talking too much about dating shows. And IG, actually, no, it's mid. They rotated. Got it. Now I'm all caught up now. Xuan finally actually landed an arrow. I wish I could backtrack. I actually could, but I'm not going to use that feature right now. Yeah. Wow. So, there you go. Mirana actually having an impact. Probably set up by Faith, finally. But yeah, so top... Sansheng does find a disruption and a Sunstrike, but it's going to be shared by the creep, unfortunately. I don't even know if it hit G. In fact, it was probably mistimed just a little bit.
If Chuan had his favorite hero set to Mirana, his bar would be green and pointing up right now compared to that last game.
Yep. New feature, Compendium stretch goal.
Yep.
New thing that just gives you basically up arrows if you're doing good. That's the whole feature. So that's fun. But yeah, Tidehunter's mid now. He does have Ravage, just kind of rune controlling. He's trying to get active because he knows that they want to make something happen. You can't just sit on Ravage, but that's going to allow Ferrari 430 to take this tower down with little resistance, spamming the Nether Blasts at rank 4.
One problem to having Tide versus Pugna, even when Tide's doing well, he has to leave. Like, he has a Ravage. He doesn't have some sweet, like, tower pushing ability, but Pugna sure does.
And How even TP's down to this tower to try to get the deny. Ferrari actually finds him. Here's the Decrepify plus the Nether Blast. It's just enough. He jaws into the trees, but it's not. Oh, wow, that was almost really bad. He tried to jaw into the trees to break the vision, because if you break vision, it does stop the life drain immediately. But that was really close. But he ended up getting away. How? Moo, also in the trees, trying to make something happen. He does have some good levels now. He doesn't have double Forge Spirits, of course, because that would be way too fast. But YYF blinks in and actually gets a 100% HP Moo in the Chronosphere, but the life drain is too much as well. So he did have backup for that Chronosphere, and he was able to get a kill out of that. So going to YYF, a much needed farm for the Faceless Void.
It's funny. Tide, who was topping the charts, is now being beaten by the Pugna. That rotation of like Tide leaving like super changed the flow of this game just
So
on like
true.
who's getting what out of what.
He's even going to get another Nether Blast on this tower. He's leveled up, and How can't do much against this. He doesn't even have level 6. How, in that aggro try, is one of the main things that he does not have level 6, which is huge. A Rubik Lift Banana from TP is actually coming from Invoker, Moo, and Zhao 8 coming in, and that's going to be a kill on the Pugna at the bottom lane. Getting a little greedy, wanted to do some damage on the Luna. Luna is underleveled, but Life Drain isn't going to be enough to kill him without some prior damage. And yeah, so a little bit overextending. Newbie getting some leverage in this game. Sansheng on the Shadow Demon farming mid, getting some levels out of that. You don't really need that many levels on the Shadow Demon, but
it's nice to have 6, but
yeah.
he's a setup hero, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Like
he's got it set up.
Definitely not. That's one of the good things about Shadow Demon is. Or maybe it's one of the bad things, that he just doesn't scale with levels that much unless you're taking him into like a damage role. Unless also that Demonic Purge is really good against one of their heroes, but honestly IG's heroes don't really care about Demonic Purge that much. Faceless Void's in a Chronosphere and he usually gets out after that, and Gyro's a ranged hero. But yeah, so Double Forge Spirit's going to finally come out on Invoker pretty soon here. IG is pushing top tower with a ward down, Nether Blast, doing work. We've seen this before at bot tower. It'll be soon before this tower is once again over, but Newbie responding a little bit better this time. Do they have Ravage? Yes, they do. In fact, have they even used Ravage once? I don't remember seeing it.
I don't think so.
But this Nether Ward is going to do work against Zhao 8's mana. There's the deny coming out from Tidehunter, but he would have had just barely enough mana for Ravage, but nothing else after that.
Chrono has just used bottom to kill that Luna, by the way.
Yeah, I just caught the tail end of it, but I didn't see actually how it happened. So yeah, they're making work happen with the Chronosphere. Getting a little bit of lag. I saw some of my creeps jitter there. But yeah, IG is still very much in this. They've made Chronosphere do work, and Newbie isn't necessarily punishing IG for using that cooldown at the moment. At least they haven't yet. So Ravage, Tidehunter in this, like getting solo XP hasn't made an impact. I'll say that right now. Yeah. So far. It was nice that they IG was forced to rotate, and they lost some XP from that. But 2 towers have gone down thanks to Tidehunter leaving the lane, trying to make something happen. But none of IG's towers have gone down, so none of that tower gold is in Newbie's pocket.
And Tide looks like he's going for a Force Staff, but either way, he still doesn't have it yet. Like, he hasn't done anything. It feels like it would have been better trying to defend that tier 1 tower bottom. Could have kept getting items. Like, he was leading the net worth chart. Like, doesn't make sense that he would leave to do nothing. Seems like a poor use of rotation.
Yep. Sometimes when you're like, okay, let's make something happen, the IG wasn't even there. They were just like, hey, we're totally fine, not really being there, and taking bot tower, and Newbie didn't really even have the push. They didn't want to use Ravage when they're not like pushing a tower, and they don't have good tower push right now. They do have Lunar Blessing coming out from Luna, but they didn't commit to that top tower in order to get it. So Ferrari 430, as you can see, is planning himself mid, preparing for this next tower kill, the last tier 1. Schwan and Faith are smoked bottom with YYF, who will have Chronosphere up. He does have Mask of Madness newly acquired as well. And Newbie backs up from this bot lane. There is a ward that spotted them out, I believe, right there. In fact, it might have even spotted out the smoke. What can Newbie do to turn this around? Because late game, IG is going to be pretty damn strong.
I mean, they're both going to be pretty strong, but they have the Ravage. They need to use that, but they also, I don't know. This Invoker, all he's got is a Hand of Midas. Like, he needs to also do something, which I guess pushing mid is something, but
yeah,
they need to bank off something off this Tidehunter Ravage. They've had it for so long too, just unused.
Finally, level 6 on the Rubik as well, and a medallion coming out from Shadow Shaman to increase the right-click damage. Moo went Hand of Midas, so he's banking on getting lots of levels and having a big impact, using the Chronospheres from Faceless Void against him to hopefully get some damage, maybe a Meteor onto some self-inflicted Chronosphere frozen targets. And yeah, I mean, when Gyrocopter gets a BKB, which I'm assuming he definitely will, he actually has gone Basilius into Drum right now. And so maybe in the next one, oh, there's a scouted out Sunstrike. Gonna notice that IG is indeed doing this Roshan, and they're gonna maybe head straight there. Can they take this? Chronosphere is up. I don't think they can.
They have Ravage. Maybe they could, but...
Well, they're gonna try. They're putting down the wards, and there's the, actually...
Oh, man.
Moonlight Shadow
they
coming
have
out
it
from
this
Schwann.
time.
And they actually have it, and they're going to use it rather than game 1. Are they going to go in on this? They're using it to scout. There's the arrow onto Zhao 8. Are they going to follow up? Yes, a time walk right onto Zhao 8. They're going to get him before he can Ravage. YYF life-stealing up with the Mom. But there's their stolen Chronosphere onto 2. How? It's going to be... Oh, How gets chickened up by Faith just before he was able to put down some damage. Banana by himself decrepified, and that's 1 down. Well, 2 down for Newbie. IG got 2 kills and they got the Aegis. They're gonna try to make something happen. Can the arrow land? Wow. How did you not dodge that? Pun intended there. And Rocket Barrage is able to take him down. Oh wow, and they actually get another completely caught out of position. IG, revenge coming out from IG here. Establishing dominance. Showing that we're not going to give up that winner's bracket seat without a fight. Moo pushing middle with his Forge Spirits, and so Ferrari's going to go back, and that's one of the tower hitters. So it's interesting that maybe that person left, but yeah, they're taking what they can, playing it safe. They got a victory.
They know Ravage is up. Everybody's up now. Like, they had that great fight. True. There's no need to overextend. It's a good choice.
Good choice. Yeah, low cooldown on the low death timers is what I meant to say.
Yeah. Low cooldown on the respawning.
There you go. That's what. Thanks.
Exactly right.
That's why I have a
Saved
co-caster. And it's definitely Sansheng's not even level 6 yet, so he's back in the top lane. Maybe can he get the disruption? Look at that long range on disruption and the Sunstrike Xiao 8 and with follow-up damage and the Rocket Barrage, but it's not enough. Good gank coming out from Newbie. They're like, okay, so we just lost a fight. They're gonna be IG's gonna be confident. Let's try to pick one off and using their global pick-off strategy to their advantage. But IG taking what they can, the opportunity cost from Newbie, and taking mid tower with the Pugna.
So I get that Rubik is a mage who can steal other people's spells, but how can he steal Rocket Barrage?
That's where it gets complicated.
Gyrocopter is a guy who created a machine to fly around in and shoot rockets.
It's not really magic.
Yeah, it's not magic at all. Rubik's like, I can do this, watch.
I guess if I had to give you an answer to your completely abstract question, but I have to actually interrupt myself because a Chronosphere onto 2 at bot tower, really good, catches him on the edge of it. Sunstrike, gonna hit the rest of How, but it's split by creeps. Sansheng and Banana maybe out of position, but no. IG's gonna back up, and the Demonic Purge almost kills him. One more Shadow Poison would have done it, but it's not there. So I would say that Rubik, going back to the important part of this discussion.
Yeah, the important part.
Rubik studies the science itself and emulates it with magic.
I don't think he does that.
You could say that, once again, magic is just science that's unexplained. So you could say that, maybe just the energies that the science uses can be emulated with magic. Get BS'd.
What type of science makes Ravage happen?
Praying to the undersea god, something like Malrath, something like that. A Tidehunter lore.
According to your logic, you could only use that in the river.
That's true. I don't know how this god has access to the entirety of this map when he's like a tentacular monster. I like that word, by the way, tentacular. There's a Faceless Void set that is... You actually have that set. It's the Tentacular Lord, I believe it is. Very cool.
Yeah, it's a good face.
Yep.
Slash shoulders.
Cthulhu face. So yeah, BKB, I think, coming out from Faceless Void, so that's once again going to be something that is going to avoid the Ravage, which is just huge. And it's important because when, let's say in the late game when Tidehunter gets the Refresher and he's got 2 Ravages, so that all you need is a 4-second BKB to avoid both those Ravages pretty much. And it's just a big predicament for a Tidehunter when everyone has BKB. You're sitting there and you're like, do I Ravage, do I not? And although it looks like a good Ravage, 2 or 3 of them are BKB'd and it does nothing. And then at that point, it's really, you take a big team fight hero and you make him not that impactful. So Gyro gonna, I hope, go BKB. He actually went Dom next. I don't know if I completely agree with that. They can secure their late game if they get that BKB, because then they wouldn't have to worry about these early game engagements. But they're confident enough, and they're gonna smoke up here, testament to that confidence. And they're gonna go up in the high ground Ancients and completely flank Newbie here, giving him the old Mexican wheel, as I like to say, as drawn on the map. And Newbie is kind of wary, but they're grouped up, which is good. So they're definitely not going to get picked off. Ferrari, 430, got his smoke completely revealed, but Faith blinks in with his newfound Blink Dagger, and the Sunstrike's going to be right on the mark on Faith. There's the Chronosphere on three heroes, because that's the stolen Chronosphere from Rubik, and the actual Chronosphere comes in on YYF. Bashing on Sanchin, can't get the defensive disruption on, and the lifesteal from Ferrari getting much needed health back, but the Deafening Blast cancels that, and Newbie's going to disengage after IG takes so much damage from that stolen Rubik Chronosphere. Wow. I don't
know if you saw, but that Pugna Ward did work that game, or that engagement.
Yeah, and they still didn't even do that good in the fight, so if they didn't have that. Yeah, I could totally see that Chronosphere. It's 175 mana, so that's a lot of damage for Rubik. The Deafening Blast 200 when it comes to mana cost, and this ward is rank 4, so it's doing a damage multiplier of 1.7, which is actually going to go on How now. The ward is down, and How is going to instantly... Oh no, there's a defensive disruption, but he's trapped in wards. But there is a mech, but instantly he goes down to the Mirana Starstorm. And more fights gonna happen. Ferrari Thor 430 is almost dead. Deafening. Oh my God! Shadow Shaman died to the. Is that a stolen ward? I thought it was shocking him, but maybe I was wrong about that. But wow. So actually, Shadow Shaman going down, which is unfortunate. His wards are down already, so it's not gonna be able to push this tower. But they have Ferrari 430 on the Pugna, and that's gonna be able to push that as well. But. Yeah, so this mid tower might be going down if they can sustain this a little bit more. The creeps are coming in. Ferrari 413 is pretty tanky. He's just taking these tower hits and continuing to take the tower hits. But yeah, there's another one. Ward down, so it's just going to be hard for Newbie to come out of this. But yeah, so that's a dead tower. But man, what happened? Chronosphere actually right onto 2. YYF actually has Chronosphere up just off of cooldown after the last fight, and that's 2 easily caught out heroes. I think they're underestimating some of the catch-out potential from IG.
Gyro is really showing himself to be like a great last pick here. Like, it goes so well with Chronosphere, and it's pretty good laning, and it's an okay carry. He should be played more, but it's just it's going so well with every Chrono. It's fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's like TI3 meta, and like it's been ignored in recent games, and definitely in TI4 so far. I think this might be the first pick so far. So definitely this is how the meta like works, right? It's like if something comes into favor, then things that complement that come in favor as well. So like you said, like Faceless Void is just being picked in so many games, and now Gyrocopter, just one of those things you go, oh yeah, Gyrocopter is really good with Faceless Void. So 6-16 here and at the status of this game. IG has much more gold, swinging in a 8,000 gold lead. XP is identical to that, and so IG's feeling good. But Newbie is going to try to make something happen. They do have Ravage up. They know Chronosphere's not up. There's the Gyro ult down just to clear the creep wave. Arrows off the mark from Schwan, and that's 2 cooldowns that have actually down. But Rubik actually only got flat cannon. Was hoping that he would get the big steal, but Sunstrike actually hits Zhao 8, but he got the Ravage off, and that's an instant death from Pugna, who was way out of position. Maybe a miscommunication. Pugna tried to go in, but IG doesn't have their initiation abilities, so they're not able to follow up on that. Maybe if they had Chronosphere. Chronosphere should be up soon. In fact, as I say it is up now. YYF hoping to catch him off guard. Will it be a 3-man? Yes, it will, right on the edges of it. Zhao Wei gonna go down first. Is that a good target though? Ravage is down. He's just able to get him defensive disruption onto Howe, so he couldn't go on him, but Banana going down to the wards. YYF, but look, Faith also shackling Moo after the wards went down, and Newbie's gonna disengage. Can they chase? Is there an arrow in 4 seconds? Forge Spirit's gonna block it though. Faith blinks up, totally is able to chicken him in just a second, but there's the Gyrocopter call down, able to do tons of damage, and that's all he needed. There was no escape for Invoker there. Sancheng is in trouble. YYF gets 4-staffed, and he does have Mom up. Can he get a first hit bash? Maybe a second hit bash, but no, an offensive disruption. Faith comes up, doesn't have enough mana to try to do anything with his spells. He does have the Blink Dagger, but unfortunately no mana to do anything. Wow. 3-man Chrono. I've told people that on paper, Chronosphere is a broken ability. It is broken.
They just, funny enough, in Han, they just nerfed Chronosphere to make it so people inside the Chrono take 25% less damage from people outside the Chrono.
Oh. If Faceless Void continues to stay this much in the meta, and they have to nerf him, I can see that, but I don't know if Ice Frog's gonna... Wait, how long ago was that?
A couple days ago.
Wow. Interesting. Keeping up on Han patch notes, huh?
There's this thing going on right now, and it's like, we're gonna give you patch notes in this little video, and like
LOL.
And they're doing a couple videos a week, and so I was like, what is Han doing?
Yeah, well, they're still in the game.
Yeah,
go home, Han, you're drunk.
They still make this?
Wow, yeah, I'd like to hear their game plan, but going back to the game that we're actually playing. But yeah, no, Chronosphere, but going back, I mean, it was kind of on topic. It was like, how can you, if you were going to balance Chronosphere, how would you do it? But it's like, it's just one of those things, like, it's complete skill-based, but the rewards, it's like Fisser, you know, it's like double-edged, but if someone is practiced enough, or you play in such a way that funnels people to group up, like you engage and then you run away and then they have to chase you, like you have like maybe a centaur that uses his stampede to like you run away and they want to chase and they group up and then you Chronosphere, if you play right, you can make Chronosphere go that much farther, and it's just broken at that point. And especially if you complement it with things like Sunstrikes, and I'm actually going to stop myself from talking because they somehow see, there's some action going on. There is a Moonlight Shadow coming out, and they TP top. Did they see Moo? They're going to find him right now, and there's the arrow, but it's Mike going to miss? No, they're just going to use the Chronosphere on it, just to get the Moo, but wow, he's tanky with all those levels, and he has 3 Quas orbs up right now, so that was pretty tanky, but he will go down no matter what, and TP out from Tidehunter.
I don't know if YYF needed to BKB there.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, he's going to be pretty low now. Well, I mean, it's still 8 seconds.
Yeah, that was his 9 seconds for like not getting attacked by anybody.
It's a really good point, and Newbie's trying to maybe get some collateral damage. Going to try to push what is still up as a T1. Newbie not doing good on the tower front, objective-based gaming. A new BKB coming out onto Gyro as well, so he's actually here going to be continuing to farm up this pushed wave. But they TP'd top now, and they're going to maybe try to do something on YYF. Will they? They're going to have to go through a creep wave to do it, so they're not going to catch him. And yeah, he's got a mom, so he's going to be able to run right away. But they are going to throw an arrow at the Rosh pit and try to make this happen with the wards. They do have a medallion, so Rosh is not having a good time here in the pit. And they're definitely going to be able to take this. So IG definitely staying as dominant as they can. And instead of trying to get more picks, they know that there's only a tier 1 tower top left. So they have a good room for Rosh. Pugna picking it up.
Pugna's died in these last couple fights. He's a good person to put it on, and yeah. Void has lived every time.
It's a good point. When you have so much farm on a squishy hero like this, and the fact that life drain is so good, just before he dies, he'll live for a good amount of time, but you finally kill him, but then he's got Aegis, so you can't really throw all your spells at Pugna, that's for sure. Because that's just going to delay you too much of your damage. And IG TPing back top. They're going to push it back and take this last tower. A Moonlight Shadow coming out pretty early. I guess they don't know where Newbie is, and they just want to make sure that this part right here isn't completely taken by Newbie at the moment. But they're going to back up knowing that now there is no one there. Top tower needs to be pushed back, though, so someone should farm that. And those necro creeps.
You can tell Newbie's like on the back foot here. They're like trying to figure out what they should be doing, and as it happens, it's stand around. That's what they should be doing.
Yep. It's a pretty farmed Shadow Shaman. Blink, Force Staff, Medallion, Mana Boots.
Yeah, he's having a pretty good time.
Mm-hmm. And another Force Staff on Mirana as well, which is pretty good at being able to dodge Ravage, and not when you get caught out from Shadow Demon Disruption or Rubik Lift, you're able to save those people. So let's see, what other kind of items are we going to see coming out? Pugna's got a Necro 3 and a Mech. Their strategy is pretty solid. They've got items that reflect what they're trying to do, and they got late game coming in. Newbie would have pretty good late game, but against IGs, you can't deal with that push in late game. It's really strong. That's a really good representation of what I think is strong in the meta right now, is early game push heroes and then late game carries that can act now, like a Faceless Void or a Yeah, Aluna. But Zhao 8 got taken down really a lot right now by the Hex coming out from... But Rubik actually went down. Actually, I don't even have any idea where Rubik went down. I think, was it Pugna? Okay, I guess Pugna killed him. I wonder if it was the ward that actually killed Pugna, but they're just going to siege this tower. Sunstrike coming on to G, but yeah, Newbie can't do anything about this. There's just way too much push, and YY goes in with a 2-man Chronosphere. He has the Battle Fury up, and he is actually doesn't have Battle Fury. It just looked like he was cleaving. Zhao 8 goes down as well, so that's 2 more down on Newbie's side, and that's the tower down as well. While it's happening, GGs get called from Newbie, going to a Game 3. Both teams have 1 point in their favor. This is going to be a huge ending finale to this Bubble Bracket B, fighting for the winner's seat in the Grand Finals straight at the Key Arena. As the Ancient goes down on the Radiant side, Newbie is now wondering whether or not they're going to get that slot. Yeah, this has been Next Level Gaming and Ranktious. Anything to say about this game?
Watch your platypus video.
Yes. Wisdom coming out from the man whose favorite animal is platypuses indeed. Take that as you may. Going back to the analyst panel, take it away, James.